Good morning, it's Jonathan Barratt with the War Report. That's the Week Ahead Report. It's a report where we talk about the up-and-coming themes and also the economic data that's due out of the week, and hopefully we'll get a bit of insight as to where we see some of the markets actually going. But before we jump into the week, I guess it's always important to get a bit of an idea as to what happened, just so we've got our mind right as to what occurred on Friday night. And I think a lot of us would agree that quite an interesting night. We had the unemployment rates, and unemployment rate in itself came in a little bit worse than expected, which wasn't exactly the right thing to do, but certainly came in a little bit of a concern there. And we obviously saw a little bit of adjustment in asset prices, but not too much. It was actually quite okay. The actual number, 9.6, we were expecting an increase of 145. It only came in at an increase of 38,000. So slightly a bit of a concern there across the board. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look now at just an overview of everything. Just get that down. Okay, there we go. As we can see, the Dow, as we come into the week, the Dow was up 19 points. The S&P was up 3. The Nasdaq was up 12. Going over to Europe, the top 50 was up 1, the FTSE was down 22, the CAC was up 3, and the DAX was down 9. So that in itself was always a little bit of an issue as well. So if anything there, our local market on SciComm closed up at 4,715. So we'll really have to see how that unfolds. Just having a quick look now, that's the equity markets. Let's have a look at some of the currency markets now. And when you look at what, let's have a look there, there we go. Currency markets, there we go. And just having a look there, you can see the dollar index, obviously dollar under pressure again. And obviously on the back of what people are looking at. But yes, dollar under pressure. And you can see, there we are, under just correcting all those lows. But remember, while 76 days in tow, we've got to assume that we're still correcting this move here. Obviously, hourly is just pointing up a little bit there. Let's just have a look at that daily chart. And there you are there. You can see a little bit more of really what's happening there. Correcting this move down here. The big picture is here. There we are. The big picture here, correcting that. Some people are saying we've already corrected it. Other people are saying we're coming lower. I actually feel we can head down a little bit low, but not too much lower. And as long as we said, as long as that 76 down here stays intact, then we've got to be comfortable with it. On the back of that, we're seeing dollar strength, dollar weakness across the board, Aussie strength. And you can see that Aussie looks quite strong there. And our preferred position is actually long the Aussie. We have been short, but we reversed that last Thursday and Friday. And we're currently long, but it'll be a nervous long because I think we can perhaps hit parity again, but as to whether or not it goes over it is another deal at all. Just look at that little bit of divergence there, because that's actually quite solid in terms of that. Okay, on the back of that, obviously we saw dollar weakness across the board, and that sort of gave a big lift to some commodities. And there we have enough. Looking at gold now, gold in itself is had a look. The previous high we've got to go through around that 1425 from memory, and let's just make sure that's the case. I think it's 1425. Anyway, 1425. There we are, and it looks quite solid, as if it's going to test that area. So that's pretty good. Also, as you can probably appreciate, with the dollar under pressure, and this looks to me as if it is all just dollar move. I mean, it's actually quite interesting that commodities are going up, yet the unemployment rate went up. So there's something's a bit quirky out there, and I think it is quite interesting in itself. Then you look at the actual rates, and things don't look crash, yet people like to buy commodities. And I think that to me is a very interesting move. Anyway, but you can't stand in front of it. You've got to work with it. Okay, just having a quick look at the local market then. Local market was higher. And as you can see, 47.14, only fractionally higher, so nothing too major there. And just coming up, expectations are there for it to try and just move sideways a little bit. But I think a lot of people are saying it's testing the top end of the range, and that's what we'll see. So probably see a little bit more strength in that market. Now, in terms of economic numbers this week, look, there isn't a lot of numbers out. Excuse me. They're just auxiliary numbers that'll help us with what we're actually feeling towards the economy. On Monday, in Australia, ANZ job advertisements. Nothing too major apart from that on Monday. Tuesday, we've got the RBA cash targets, so that could be quite interesting as to what happens there. We all expect no change whatsoever, in fact, no change up until March next year, so expect things to be pretty quiet. A little bit of IP around the Scandi, certainly in Scandi countries. Also, Britain has IP as well. In the States, not a lot there. Consumer credit will be important, and also that IBD tip, Economic Optimism Index, so that should be good. We've got some machine orders in Japan as well, so that'll be something we'll focus. Wednesday, home loans, investment lending in Australia, which will be quite important. We've got GDP in Japan. Coming up to Thursday, a little bit of CPI data there in top Europe, and we've got BOE announces rates, but that's all expected to remain the same. Initial jobless claims and continuing claims in the States, and that's pretty much on Thursday. And as we come into Friday, a little bit more industrial production. PPI out of the UK will be important. In the States, we've got the trade balance, and we've got the University of Michigan confidence number. So that's pretty much all we've got in terms of it. So if anything, this week's not going to be a powerful week for data, but I am intrigued as to the unemployment rate in the States, as to why it was about 100,000 people less than expected, and the rate went up to 9.6, yet commodity markets took off. So I think that to me is a little bit of a concern, but let's see how that unfolds. But that's about it for me from the Week Ahead report. Hope everyone has a good week, and we'll certainly talk to you during the week.